Sahana vavatu Sahanao bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Oh, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome everyone to the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. And now we are going to do the study circle, continue it on Gita Vahini, chapter 14. And if you have the email, the soft copy, page 63. And in the hard copy, it is page 128. So, by the way, I wish everybody a holy Thursday. Every Thursday for us is holy, for Sai devotees. Today is especially Holy Thursday. Why? Why, Chiranjeevi? Yeah, today, I know you know those things. That's why I didn't ask you. Even I'm with the group, I ask always people, this is the day, very important. This is the day of Last Supper. This is the day Jesus met that's why it's called Last Supper. After that, he didn't have any supper with his disciples in the physical form, in this omnipresent, omniscient form. He is there all the time. So the day when he had his Last Supper, and Wednesday is the day he was betrayed, and then this is Last Supper. And there's another special thing about the day is the day he washed the feet of his disciples. So one is he gave his part of his body through bread and wine. So that means there's no difference between him and the disciples. I and my Father are one. And second thing is wash the feet of the disciples, and that is why it's called Maundy Thursday also, in addition to call Holy Thursday, Maundy Thursday. Does anybody know? Maundy means, like in Latin, mandate is a mandate. He gave a mandate, love and serve each other the way I loved you and served you. Because he washed, because they said, Master, how can you wash our feet? He's an example. So that I washed and feet so that you do that to all our people. Everybody is your brother and sister. So you need to love and serve each other the way I loved you and served you. That is the great message on this Thursday. Anyway, tomorrow is Good Friday, and Sunday, 20th is the Easter Sunday. That is the Sunday, and 2011, Swami, April 24th, Swami left his body. Very significant. He could have chosen any day, but he chose April 24th. And this whole week, I went to Mexico a couple of times for the retreat. This is called Holy Week. That is in Catholics is very important, starting from Palm Sunday, 13th of April, is to 20th. That means it is each year changes because they have a lunar calendar, not the other one. So it changes year to year. But from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday, the whole week almost they focus only on this. That's why it's called Holy Week for Catholics. So that's each one is very significant. Anyway, I heard Nirupama is going to share some thoughts on that. So we'll finish the study circle at 8 o'clock, and then she will talk about the significance of Easter. So anyway, so last week where we ended, just for recapitulate, main points always should be ingrained. That we have talked so many points. Number one, the goal of life is moksha, liberation. So, Swami, I was just reading another discourse of his Buddha Purnima, Mukti or Moksha. Moksha means liberation. That means freedom. That is exactly freedom from what? So Swami says, cute, the way he's telling is, when you are hunger, you eat food, that is freedom from hunger, mukti from hunger. When you have a sickness, disease, you take medicine to get your illness cured, that is mukti from sickness. And you have mental disturbance and no peace, then you get peace, that is mukti from agitation. These are all at the worldly levels, but the real mukti, liberation, is the ultimate, where you will get eternal bliss. There is no more grief. In all these other things, after you finish eating, you will have freedom from hunger. Again, before next meal, again you will have suffering, pain. Same thing with other things, sickness or whether anything. But this is the ultimate freedom, after which there is no more coming back. That is why when we do the Suprabhatam in the morning, what do we say? Idam punyam ye padanti te vishanti parandhama jnana vijnana shobhita. Do you remember that? Suprabhatam idam punyam ye patanti dine dine te vishanti parandhama jnana. What is parandhama? Lord Krishna gives the definition. Yajnatva anivartante tadhama paramam mama. Having gone where, you don't come back. Anywhere you go on vacation, you have to come back to home. You go anywhere. Even in this life, we live depending upon our deeds. You may go to heaven or you may go to hell. But still you have to come back. The Lord Krishna says, Chine punye matya loka vishanti. Even you go to heaven in the realm of devatas, once you finish your quota of your good deeds, merit, you have to come back again to be born. He says, Chine punye matya loka vishanti. But this is the only place, having gone which, there is no more coming back. Ultimately, you are one with God. So that is the highest you need to have. So that is the goal of life, is to reach that ultimate stage, liberation and eternal bliss and real happiness and no more grief. Then next one, what is the title we should have? Unvanti Visya Amrutasya Putraha, that we are the children of immortality. That means don't think you are mortal. That means don't think you are this body. We are immortal. That should have a clear thing. So once you identify your God, you know you are immortal. That is a nice feeling. Everybody wants to be, is there anybody who wants to die? Any time now or any puncture, everybody wants to be there. Even somebody who is 100 or 110, 110. So everybody, the life principle, because we are immortal. We think this body is immortal. That is the problem. So this, the only title we have to have is immortal. That is why if you read the scriptures, all these demons, all they're scared of death. All of them don't want to die. And Brahma says that is not possible. Somehow you have to die. That is nature. Because they ever have fear of death. But the really we are immortal. That is second, another important principle, mantra Swami said. And another one is great Mahamantra. We talked about it 3 weeks ago. Vasudeva Sarvamidam. Everything is pervaded by God. That is the thing. Every atom and every cell. So if you realize that Sammahatma Sudurlabha, that great soul is difficult, but that is the goal. So at least next time ask you said these are the important concepts. We have so much explanation. So we need to see God not only in the bhajan hall, in the temple, mosque, synagogue, or Gurudwara, but you should see Him in all places at all times. Whether we're walking, you can experience God in the trees, in the mountains, the rivers, the dogs that they are taking for walk, the cats, everywhere. You need to feel that, the need to practice the presence of God in everything. There's a beautiful book called Practicing the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. He's a Carmelite brother who is wonderful man who was just a cook, but he practiced this philosophy, seeing God in everything, everywhere. So that is another principle. And last week, that is why Nirupama wanted to talk, Lord Krishna says, very few people have that interest to be merged with me. Very few people have the spiritual interest. Very few, because only if you have good merit, if you have good deed, so you'll have that interest. Like that little boy, Prajnan, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years old. How old are you, Prajna? 9. Oh, really? You look like a 5-year-old. So for that young age, to have interest, that is of your previous lives, your good merits are the vasanas. Otherwise, at that age, you would like to rather go and play video games, watch TV. So that is the natural inclination of majority of the people. So that starts, that vasanas, the thing, because you plant those seeds at this age. So this will continue as your subconscious impressions or vasanas. So that is why these practices are very, very important. So Lord Krishna says, you can merge with me. He says, how can you merge with you? Because you should know who you are. Arjuna says, yeah, you can merge if you know these things. If you know Parabrahma, is Brahman, if you know what is Adi Adhyatmika, you know what is karma, what is Adi Bhautika and Adi Daivika, Adi Yajna, and what to happen when at the time of death. It's a very important concept. So he bombards them with all these words. Brahman and Adhyatmika, Karma, Adibhautika, Adidaivika, and Adiyajna. And he says, oh, please, like a good student, explain to me. Go on saying that, please explain one by one what it means so that I understand, practice, and then be one with you. So that is what we are going to discuss. And I think Nirupama said she already did some homework and studied. So let us hear from her what she had. Then we will, because here Swami dealt with the detail one by one. What is Brahman and what is this Adhyatmika and Karma. And ultimately important thing is going to talk about two important things in this chapter. One is the significance of Om, very important. Om itself is Brahman. Om ityeka Aksharam Brahma. This is the chapter. This is chapter 8. Everybody read original Akshara Parabrahma Yoga. And this is the way where he talks about how one should die. At the end of the life, what happens, one should die. Because whatever you think about, that is what you will be in next life. So there are important, very important concepts covered in this chapter 8, Akshara Parabrahma Yoga. So just now it is your turn. You said last time you wanted to tell about these things. Or no, I understand differently. And you wanted to read, I said, yeah, we'll detail. Yeah.
Sorry, Sairam. No, I had looked up some. I like to look things up on Google sometimes.
Google, Google
So
like the
looked up.
patients ask me, but it's Google Docs. They have the Google gurus. That is one of the Swamis was telling Bhaskarananda, he's Seattle's Ramakrishna Swami. Oh, nowadays nobody needs guru. Google guru is guru for all people. Like, okay.
Yeah, and the AI does a nice summary. One of the things too that we talked about last week, because in the reading, Arjuna, Lord Krishna was telling Arjuna about liberation, how to attain liberation, and that one of the things that in the human birth that can hold us back is when we feel grief. And so there was a lot about grief being a manifestation of ajnana or ignorance, where we have this attachment we have this body identification or body attachment. So we did talk a little bit about, and Lord Krishna says this kind of throughout Bhagavad Gita, not to grieve, because only the body really dies, but the Atma is always permanent and forever existing. So because the Atma exists throughout, there's no reason to grieve. It's just a body. You shouldn't have an attachment to that body. So that's something that he kind of, and I know we talked about too, how Bhagwan sort of compares it to changing your outfit. You change your outfit, you change your body. So with each existence. So let me see, what did I look up last?
No, I don't want to put you in a spot. We have the discussion. We can go over
wrote
that
it down.
one by one.
So in the discourse, so Swami had talked a little bit about grief as well in one of his discourses. So I'd kind of gone through that. But in this, when they talk about Brahman, the definition is really this vastness. And he talks in the next paragraph about Akshara, which is sort of indestructible. And then you have Brahman, which is Param Aksharam. So it's almost like super indestructible, which is a lot of what Lord Krishna talks about throughout this while, he's counseling Arjuna. But he says that Paramaksharam is beyond time and space and any limits, so it never ends. And I always think about when people come late to appointments or something, they'll apologize and they'll say, you got here when you were meant to get here, because time is something that it's a constraint that the human mind builds in this existence, but it doesn't really exist. So if you're supposed to be here at 10 and you're here at 10:15, but you're meant to get here at 10:15, there's a reason for that. And they just kind of look at me like I'm crazy, but but it's truly, kind of how we feel. But we as humans sort of put this early, late, and arrival. So I will start reading. I think it was the goal of humanity is to attain Brahman, but I'll start with the paragraph right before that, just to set it up. Arjuna. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Brahman is referred to as the Akshara, which is Param. Akshara means without kshara, or destruction, or indestructible. Brahman comes from a root which means big, vast. How vast, you may ask? Vaster than whatever you can call vast. That is the answer. The word Akshara has another meaning also. It means omnipresent, immanent everywhere. Brahman is not mere Aksharam, as you will have noticed. It is Paramaksharam. What does that mean? It is that type of Akshara which is beyond the reach of time and space and knowability. It cannot be known by any or all the categories. It never declines or ends. It is Paramaksharam, the highest, indestructible, indescribable. The goal of humanity is to attain that Brahman. Aksharam and Brahman signify the same goal. They indicate the Saguna and Nirguna aspects of the same truth. For Akshara means also a letter, the Pranava, Om, which is a symbol of Brahman. That is why it is called Akshara Parabrahma Yoga. Brahman has two adjectives, Paramam and Aksharam. Akshara indicates the Pranava as well as Maya. Maya too is subsumed by Pranava. These two are attributeful, qualified, savisesha. Brahman, however, is nirvisesha, qualificationless, attributeless, pure in its own right. He who understands this understands me. Now for a second point, it is Brahman that dwells in every body in the form of I. In fact, every body hangs around this entity called I. In the body, each part and organ in the organization performs one chief task. Each sense contacts and informs about one particular set of impressions from the outer world. But though related to the senses. There is an eye shining in the body, above and beyond, but above and behind all of them. If that relationship is broken, everything becomes inert material. When the eye power flows through the senses, they are able to carry on their allotted tasks. That power is adhyatmam. It cannot be known without great effort. Use the sharpest discrimination, and you know it to some small extent. Brahman is the Tat entity. Adhyatmam is the Twam entity. To make the matter clearer to you, take these two as appearance and character, form and substance. Brahman is the form. Adhyatmam is substance, said Krishna.
Need to stop there.
So that is pretty, that's pretty intense. So here I think what Narendranath Uncle was talking, he mentioned all of this and gave us a little bit of a prelude, but it's understanding this pervasiveness of the supreme power, which is called Brahman. And he gives this distinction between what has physical attribute and what is attributeless. And he also makes it very clear that what has an attribute is powered by what we cannot see or what we cannot comprehend sometimes. It's not that we have to necessarily give up things like, the senses like sight, hearing, feeling, smell, taste, but it's understanding that what powers the outcome of those senses, what we should be taking in from that, should be powered by the Brahman, or by the this divine vision, basically. But he mentions here that the goal of humanity is to attain Brahman. I'm trying to see if I wrote anything else down. And that was kind of my notes.
Good.
That's it.
So I think this language, like definitions in science, anywhere, maths, here we should have Brahma. People can get confused. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. That Brahma is different. Brahma is the creator. Here, don't confuse this Brahma versus Brahman or Brahman. They call that. Brahma is creator. That is a specific part of Brahman. And Brahman or Brahman is the supreme reality, attributeless, and we'll come to that. So, because this Brahman, the supreme reality, which is beyond name, beyond form, beyond time, beyond space, beyond causation, and beyond attribute, that is Brahman. That is what is called Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirvishesha Brahman. Because everything what we see, even avatars, like it be Rama, I told you how he talks and what is it, Krishna, Baba, everything, we give them some attributes. Attribute give him a name, a form. So these are all not the ultimate being. That is called Saguna aspect of the Brahman. Through the Saguna, that means God with name, form, attributes, who is confined to a place. Oh, Shirdi Baba was born Shirdi, Swami in Parthi, Rama was born in Ayodhya, Krishna in Mathura. So you confine them to a place, a form, a name. This is all the Saguna aspect. But ultimately, in Brahman, that Niraka, all names and forms become merged. There is only one thing. So you are seeing like nice sweets are there, something you say as cake, or some as a gulab jam, or Mysore pak, whatever it is, but the sweet is sweet. Similarly, this whole Brahman, once you understand that, you won't worry whether you go to a mosque, or you go to a synagogue, you go to a church, or you go to a temple, you experience the same divinity, because everything is the same. Only ignorance, you think, oh, that is the only way, this is the only way. Jesus is the only son of God, or Muhammad is the only prophet, and Vaishnava, Vishnu is the only God. No. When you realize, that is why ultimately we have to see that he says, supreme reality is only Brahman. And the closest to that is Om. So once you chant Om, it includes all names and forms. It is closest to the Brahman. Formless reality is Om. And in the form, Lingam. These two are said to be which beyond the name and form and sound. So the Om, once you chant, that's why in every hymn we have, whether Ganapati, other Varshisham, or whether Lalita Sahasranam, everywhere, even Vishnu Sahasranamam, this Om is that form of that God. That means all names and forms. So once we chant Om, that's why in beginning always we chant Om, right? 3 times. You should remember you are really invoking the supreme reality which includes all names and forms of God. So there is Om Ityeka Aksharam Brahma. Only one letter, it includes everything. You chant that, you chant everything. Anyway, we are going to talk about it later on. Lord Krishna says, the one who chants Om at the time of death will become merged with one with me. Just Om, that's all you need to say. Anything else, and you become one with me, he emphasizes. So this is the Brahman, which becomes, because of the people, when we have body consciousness, it is difficult to relate this God without name and form and attributes. That's why these people of Semitic religions, they criticize, oh, Indians worship stone, they worship a bull, they worship a snake. So that is ignorance, because they think God, which is true ultimately, but they also have a sign, Christians have a cross and Mohammedans have a crescent, and they look one direction towards Makkah, so as if God is only one side. So, but this Sanatana Dharma, they realized, hey, for people with body consciousness to relate to attributeless God is hard. That is why they gave a name and a form. And then finally they say, see in everything. That's why we worship a bull, because there is a vehicle for Lord Shiva, and see God in bull. See God in snake, because Lord Shiva wears that. Even a mouse, which is the vehicle for Ganesha. So in everything, you see that. And even trees, that is why in our temples, we have these Belva trees, Tulasi trees, because they are called sacred, so that at least even in trees and plants, should be able to see God. And special mountains, everything we give, so that people can see not just only in that particular form of God, in everything. That is very important. So this is up to the Brahman. So we didn't finish. That is why here there are 7 questions. He gives 7 answers. So we don't have the first question was Brahman, we talked. And second also he answered Adhyatma. This Brahman, when enters this human body, it is Adhyatma. That is the Jivatma. Is the divine spark. But we confuse this body to be the Adhyatma, which is wrong. Really, that real Jivatma, that is supreme. So, part of that Paramatma is in us. That is Adhyatma. That is why beautifully Swami says the Mahavakya, giving example. What is that? Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi is one of the 4 Mahavakyas from the Vedas. What are the other Mahavakyas? No, that the what is Tattvamasi means, that is in English, that the what? Aham Brahmasmi, Ayamatma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. These 4 are the Mahavakyas. We should all remember that. So here, very beautifully Swami made it simple. Brahman and Adhyatma. Tat is Brahman. That. Tvam is Adhyatma, Jivatma. Tat Tvam Asi. Asi means you are that. So you are that. That is what it is. I think we'll discuss this next week. It is a very wonderful, deep subject, because it is 8 o'clock. We wanted to listen about Holy Easter and this about the Holy Week. So, but this is, please read it. It is very important. There is so many beautiful commentaries by great masters about this, and you can go back to the original chapter 8, Akshara Parabrahma Yoga, with commentaries what Swami said and others said. Because as Lord Krishna assured, if you know all this, What will happen? Merge with me. What else you want? That's what we want to be merged in God, right? For that, you should have a clear concept about all this Brahman, Adhyatma, Karma, and Adhyabhautika, Adidaivika, Adhyajna, and how to leave the body. Okay? Next time, at least repeat all those things, Charanjit. Yeah, so like these things we went in deep, so try to read also the Eternal Companion. We compiled all this information. What is this? And actually, Swami, another like, profound said, Om and Maya are part of the Nirguna Brahman. Because Maya comes along with the thing we're talking about. It is not easy to talk about Maya. We are talking last issue. Again, we are going to continue this issue about Maya, what really and how to transcend Maya to be in touch with the reality. Okay, this coming issue, Maya part.